Hey guys, it's Vandy. So about Card Fight Vanguard deck profiles. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and sorry. This time we're covering DZ set 9 for Dark States with Heartluru. So Heartluru is one of our newest variety lines from DZ set 9, focusing on the Happy Toys aesthetic, which this low-key reminds me of Arkwright when it first came out, where it just had so much consistency and you pulled so many pieces out from your deck. And now I'm not so sure this is going to be a meta threat or not, and I think I kind of already see where its feature support's going to go, so let's just start and see what we have. First today we have our Energy Generator. You mail in red decks in your ride deck, auto ride deck. When you ride, put this card to your crest zone. If you win second, get your energy charge 3. Continues to make 10 energy at a time. Auto begin your ride phase, energy charge 3, and act once return energy by 7, draw a card. Arm pretty solid, you get a free 3 energy every turn. If you win second, you get extra 3 on top of that. And once you hit 7 energy, you can energy blast 7 of them all at once in order to draw. This deck does have a main energy user in the form of Heartluru himself, so you'll pretty much never use the energy blast 7 skill to draw a card. But it's nice that the option is there in case for some reason you don't want to use Heartluru's skill. For example, if it would deck you out from doing it, then there you go. So we like to have the energy generator as one of the ride deck crests. Moving on, we have our starter in Cute Teddy Bear TT. Grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 6k base, auto and roto point for second draw card. And then it has the ability almost every card in this deck has, which is Happy Toys. This card is one of the Happy Toys made for children, essentially something very important for all of the support. So you do actually have to run this as the starter because the grade 1 of the ride line does require it, and the grade 2 of the ride line requires the grade 1. And even more importantly, those two cards get you a lot of benefit throughout the deck, and that grade 1 of the ride line, if worse comes to worse, can basically self-trigger the deck's full ability as long as the starter's in soul. So one of TT as our ride deck starter. Moving on, we have our Overtrigger and Terrifying Wicked Dragon King Vamfreeze. Grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 5k power. Overtrigger, you Overtrigger in your deck. Revealed as a trigger, you may draw a card, choose one of your units, give a +1 million for the turn. If revealed during jet check, activate it's a disfight with you to get until during your turn. All your Vanguards get 10,000 power critical until the end of this fight. I'm pretty solid because whether you drive this damage check this, someone gets a million and you get a draw. But on top of that, if you did end up drive checking this, your Vanguard for the rest of the game will have +10k and +1 critical attached to it, plus its own skill to possibly give the front row 5k, plus its skill to give itself another 5k and give it triple drive, meaning on your first grade 3 turn, honestly, if you went first or second depending, your Vanguard could be a 33k base double crit with triple drive. All around very good for offensive pressure. You could run Vulner for more consistent multi-attacking, which definitely does help with the deck's lethal turns. It's for more recycling and give more stuff crit pressure, but I prefer Vamfreeze because yeah, that ability lasting the whole game is pretty helpful, especially in the situations where you don't want to use Heartluru's skill for whatever reason that may be. Moving on, we have our normal triggers, 3 of them being Rouse, My Last Riley. Grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 4k base, continues guard circle. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, she's 5k shield. So you know she's a 10k shield, she's a draw trigger, so increase the hand. This deck does have a lot of ways to get your specific pieces in soul, but if you somehow miss those chances, the draw trigger helps increase those chances. You can run front triggers for more offensive numbers, but I feel like the deck already hits numbers as is, so I choose to run when I get the draw triggers for that. Then we have 8 crit, 4 copies of Direful Doll Bethany, grade 0 boost, 20k shield, 5k base. You may any crit you want just to make it Bethany, because why not make it a Direful Doll? The deck kind of feels kind of like the more fun and amusing version of Android, so might as well run the Direful Doll triggers. Then we have 4 Stem Deviate Dragon, grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 4k power, auto rear guard, then about the boost is shove it to soul, choose when you give 2k for the turn. So that 2k doesn't make much of a difference unless in one very specific situation. It's mainly here for the soul because there are a handful of cards in here that involve the soul and you want to have excess free soul that aren't the Happy Toys, so soul blast out for you. However, if you want to make this a vanilla crit, I 100% see reason to. I choose to make it the Stem Deviate though, so I have more soul that isn't Happy Toys to soul blast for skills. As for our heal, we have Direful Doll Alexandria at 4 copies, grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 5k base. You make that any heal you want, just to make it Alexandria because, like I said with Bethany, this deck feels like the happier version of Andral, aka the Direful Doll deck, so I might as well run the Direful Doll triggers. On to our grade 1s. First up, 4 copies of one of the best support cards ever printed, and the reason why I think this deck is basically the Dark States version of Arkwright when it first came out. Toys are made for children. It's very funny that Ava also has to be in the foreground, as someone called me out for saying it's in the background. I'm aware of the difference of foreground and background. I'm saying in the background because we all focus on Heartluru more than we focus on Ava, because that's what I noticed when I first saw it, but apparently people are going to call me out on that, so whatever. Anyways, after set words play, put it in your order zone. Literally no cost to set this whatsoever, no requirements at all. You can just straight up play this for free. Its ability won't go off unless your Vanguard's a specific thing, but you can just play this in your order zone for free. Continues if your Vanguard is either a Heartluru or is a Happy Toys, it gets all the following. Auto and put into order zone, check the top 5 to do 2 Happy Toys from one of them, reveal them, choose up to one of the revealed cards, put it in your hand, put the other into soul and shuffle the deck. So either get 2 free soul, get a hand card in the soul, and then just shuffle the rest back to the deck. Pretty solid that does that for free. And then act order zone, rest 2 cards, the same card name as this card from the order zone, choose up to 1 Happy Toys from your drop zone, put it back into your soul. So if your opponent marks off a rear guard, or you recover damage, or you're discarding for ride deck, there you go, way to recycle soul. The best part is, this deck has other cards that can soul things. thin. Even more importantly, the entire ride line is very active in the deck because all their skills are on road upon and can hard search for the order, which means for the first 2 turns, you are guaranteed getting a top 5 search that could send 2 cards to soul possibly. And what's even better is that on your grade 2 turn, you'll be able to put a card from drop zone back into your soul guaranteed. So 4 of toys are made for children, very solid order. Its entire ability is for free. There is no requirements behind this whatsoever. It's just a really great card and it helps for deck landing and it helps out for your later skills. And then we have 4 copies of Block Horse, Great On Boost, 5k Shield, aka base, continues right, back, or rear guard circles. That's the gimmick of this deck where all of the units have to be in a specific circle. So this one is right, back, or rear guard circle. It gets intercept, it can intercept from back row. Ignore the image you see here. Bushy messed up with the image. It is a continuous skill, not an auto skill. And continuous guard circle, if your order zone has a toys are made for children, it's 5k shield. So 10k shield once you have a toys are made for children in the order zone, which you will always have. But regardless of what grade either player is at, which is really weird for me, this thing gets intercepted, intercept from back row. So literally the second you hit grade 1, it is a 10k interceptor from right, back, or rear guard circle. And as for the rest of the support, as well as the rest of the deck, it's a happy toys, which means it's one of the happy toys made for children, means it's proccable via this and whatever else is in your deck. Moving on, we have 4 copies of a really good top 3 searcher, who my exact words when I was trying to find it to shove it in this deck profile was, and I quote, "I'm not even going to ask why this is a common, it's just good." Grade 1, boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto and placed on rear guard circle from anywhere, by any means, at any point in the game, regardless of what either grade either player is at. If your order zone has a toys are made for children in it, check the top 3, choose up to 1 card from among them, shove it to soul, shuffle the deck. Free selective soul charge, regardless of what the card is, so if you want to send a draw trigger in there in case of deck out, you can. Just requires the order, can proc whether either player is at grade 3 or not. Not to mention the fact that this isn't a hard once per turn, so you have multiple you can play, and it can also proc from being played from soul. More importantly, its second skill, which is for some reason really good, auto, left, back, or rear guard circle. When your happy toys in the same column as this unit stands by a card ability, you may stand this unit. If you do stand at the end of the turn, retire it. Happy toys is one of the happy toys made for children. The reason why I specify that ability is good, that is not a once per turn. There is a card in this deck that has the ability to restand, not to mention the fact that the Vanguard has the ability to restand that same unit, meaning you could have a total of this thing boosting 3 times in that turn for a total of at least 4 attacks, but possibly even 5 or 6 attacks guaranteed, with all of them except for maybe one having a booster. This card is incredible. It's a great grade 1. Both of its abilities proc regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at. That's the other thing about this deck. Almost none of these abilities require the opponent to be at grade 3, so you can just straight up aggro them down if you want to. 4 of Sparkling Bunny. Great card. Don't know why it's a common, but at least it makes it more accessible, presumably via price. Moving on, we have 4 copies of PG and Ridicule Disruptor. Great on boost, 0 so 6k base, continuous Sentinel for Sentinels in deck on spawn guard circle. Choose from units, it cannot be hit to the battlefield. Hands 2 more cards, and choose a card from hand discard. Standard PG, nothing special about basically is if this only one of cards that are placed on guard circle, you don't have to discard is great, because that means if you super aggressive in the early game, spam the ever living hell out of Bunny, spam the ever living hell out of your block horse, spam the ever living hell out of everything you see here, and then your opponent does eventually counterattack you, throw down PG, give them the middle finger, you're good to go. Aram, very solid card to have in the deck. The deck has a lot of ways to recycle your happy toys. If your opponent murks them off, or you murk them off of your own means, you can always recycle them back to soul. Not to mention the fact that because of all the deck thing you're doing between Sparkling Bunny, this thing, and even possible triple drive with the Vanguard, odds are you're going to be seeing your PGs pretty often. So for Ridicule Disruptor, it makes any PG you want between, what's it called, Reskill, Hate Dragon, or Repel Malice Dragon. Just make a Ridicule Disruptor coming closer to the time of Heartluru's release. Moving on, we have our last grade 1 in the deck. One of the right deck, none of the main deck of Nutcracker Soldier, not Choo Choo. Not True, not True. I don't know why I say not Choo Choo. Grade 1, boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Love that how it's a Nutcracker on a merry-go-round with a beautiful looking horse. Auto in place by riding from Cute Teddy Bear TT. Reveal a grade 3 card Heartluru's card in the ride deck. Search after 1, toys are made for children, and put your hand show up your deck. So basically, right from the grade 0, get a free order. Cool. Then auto back or rear guard center when this unit is placed by a card's ability. So not even specifically from soul. So you find a way to get this into drop zone and call it back in dark states of all decks, it would still proc the ability, and your bind zone does not have a copy of the starter in it, and your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater. Counter boss 1, bind a copy of the starter from your soul. Search your deck for 1, toys are made for children, vote, put your hand and shuffle your deck, and it's a happy toys are made for children. So get you the orders by being placed, so again you can proc it on your first turn of the game for free. Not to mention the fact that if you want a superior call it out from soul via the Vanguard's ability towards the later game, because you don't have extra copies of the order or you have 1 copy left, just call out Nachu Nachu, counterblast 1, bind the starter, and then get another Happy Toys for Children, because you want at least 3 to get most of your abilities off. You want full power, you want 4, and this is your way to search your 4th, because the ride line inherently already searches 2. 1 of in the ride deck of Nachu Nachu, none in the main deck, Very solid grade 1. You don't need any more in the main deck because you only get use ability once, so take that as you will. Moving on, we have our grade 2s. 4 copies of our ways to get the set order out of Soul. Dark, Bond Abyss, Surga, and Dargaz. So a Sparkling Bunny sends in the Soul is not the worst thing in the world. Grade 2 NSF 5k shield, 10k base. Auto place on Mirror from the hand other than during the battle phase. Check the same number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of set orders in your order zone plus 1. So bare minimum is going to be a total of 3 when you play it. Choose a card from among them, put it to your Soul, and if you looked at 2 or more, shuffle the deck. Then by counterbossing 1, perform the following. Either choose a grade 2 or grade unit card from your Soul, put it to your hand, or choose a set order from your Soul, put it to your hand. So mainly this is your way to recycle any of these guys, but specifically itself in case you really need to, or a Persona in case you really need to. Otherwise, use it specifically to get the set order back into your hand, or at least send something into your Soul via its own skill. Not a bad grade 2 at all. Deck thins for you for free, and if you want to pay the extra CB, it can get you one of your playmakers back. Not a bad card, but it's mainly just here as a empty spot attack option, so you can make this any card you want, but I choose to make it that for, the reason I just explained, so 4 row. On to 4 copies of Giant Fluff. I just love how its center is just its belly with this little spiral circle going into it. Great turn stuff 5k shield, 10k base, and for some reason this card reminds me of the Fluffle Frightfur cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! Auto place on Rearguard Circle, regardless of what grade either player's Vanguard's at. Soulbots 2, choose a toys are made for children from either your drop zone or face up in your damage zone. Put it into your hand. If you put a card from your damage zone, put the top card of your deck into your damage zone, face up. So this is your way to either recycle a copy that got damage checked if that happened, or if you end up damage checking one, you healed it out, you can recycle the one from drop zone. Then auto right front row Rearguard Circle. When this unit stands by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard, Heartluru in the card name, until end of turn, it gets continuous Rearguard. During the battle, this unit attack when your opponent cards are in the guard circle, like 2 more at the same time, and it gets plus 7k power, and it's a happy toys made for children. So you will almost never use that ability to bounce back toys are made for children. Literally the only time that has ever happened to me where I could have used it, A, I didn't draw Giant Fluff for some reason, but B, it only happened I think the first or the second game I put the deck. After that, I always consistently drew at least 3 of them without needing to use Nachu, so that's pretty cool. But again, 10k, when it stands by the Vanguard's ability, force out 2 or more cards to guard, regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at. Do you know how consistently this deck has killed on first grade 3 turn? Almost every single game. There has been 1 game to memory, maybe 2 games, the second game is very blurry, but there's been 1 game to memory, full memory, where this deck didn't kill on first grade 3 turn and immediately killed on second grade 3 turn. 4 of Giant Fluff. Really good numbers, acts as a Battledore skill, force out 2 cards at the same time, and it can recycle your order in case you need it to. Then we have 4 copies of Toy Monster Bravely Lost. The other reason why this deck can kill on first grade 3 turn, regardless of the opponent's Vanguard's grade, because bare minimum with this deck, if you have this on board, you can guarantee that you get 5 attacks on your opponent's grade 2 Vanguard, but bare minimum the Vanguard alone is guaranteed to get a total of 4 attacks, worst case scenario. Anyways, Bravely Lost over here, who reminds me again of Arkwright. Grade 2 NSF 5k shield, 10k base, auto when placed on Rearguard Circle. If your order zone has a toys are made for children, CB1 draw a card, and opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 get a 5,000 power for the turn. So bare minimum you get a draw regardless of how it's placed, where it's placed from, as long as you placed it while you had the order, but it also gets 5k opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 greater. Auto left front Rearguard Circle when it stands by the ability of your grade 3 get a Vanguard Heartluru in the card name, regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at a critical. And it's a happy toys. Why specify regardless of grade? Because Heartluru, whatever his stands, gets plus 10k power. Plus a 25k right there. And left front row Rearguard Circle. What has to be in the left back row Rearguard Circle? 33k, double critical on a grade 2 Vanguard without triggers. 4 of. Moving on. Coaster Shark. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck. Coaster Shark, grade 2 SF 5k shield, 10k base. I did not realize this thing's on a roller coaster. I literally never paid attention to that up until this moment. Auto and placed by riding from Nutcracker Soldier Nachu. Reveal a grade 3 card Heartluru in the card name for the right deck. Search for 1 toys are made for children. Put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. So it's literally the same thing as Nachu. And then auto right from a Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, at the end of battle, this you attack the Rearguard. If your order zone has a toys are made for children in it and it was placed on Rearguard from Soul this turn, either by whatever generic card you choose to run in place of this or Heartluru, you can then Soul Boss 1. Reason why I want to have generic Soul now for stuff like Stem Deviate, and stand this unit, and it's a happy toys. So the play I was talking about earlier, which I now realize is impossible because of where the units has to be placed, was Coaster Shark being boosted by Sparkling Bunny, but that won't work because Coaster Shark has to be in front right and Sparkling Bunny has to be in back left, so they'll never be in the same column as each other. But the point still stands. That's not a once per turn, so you found a way to stand the unit multiple times. There you go. But being able to attack extra times, regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at, superior call this, murk off their intercept, regardless if they take it or not, it'll stand because you will always have that order card in your order zone, and then you just blow your opponent down. That's a solid 3 in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck. because if your opponent kills it, well, you have extra ones either in the soul, or your orders can just literally put it back into soul. That's just good. That's a guaranteed 4th attack right there for literally no cost at all. It's great for what it does. And then our last card in the deck is, of course, our main grade 3. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck of our Willy Wonka looking motherfucker, Sugary and Scary Land, Heartluru. Grade 3, Twin Giant, Persona R, 13k base, a long house effect, continues Vanguard circle during turn. For orders 3 or more copies of Toys Are Made for Children, your entire form gets 5,000 power. Regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at, mind you. And again, the ride line gets you a guaranteed set of that, and possibly you can even hit another one, either just by hard drawing it, like I do in the very start of the game when I mulligan for it, or Giant Fluff can fetch you a 3rd one, and you will automatic, or even Darga and Surga over here, and you'll automatically have the 3 for front row, 5k. So remember earlier what I said about this thing being a, 28k double critical swing without triggers? 33k double critical swing without triggers, possibly even more with triggers, obviously. Then, act Vanguard once per turn. As you pass 3, choose the same number of your happy toys from souls, the number of toys are made for children in your order zone, call into Vanguard circle. Bare minimum, you'll get 2. Maximum, you'll get 4. More often than not, you're going to get 3. Because I never had 4 in the order zone. You want to know why I never had 4 in the order zone? Because the one turn I did, my opponent died before I could even swing with Heartluru. Yeah, I've never pulled off the 4 ability, because the one time I could, my opponent died beforehand, and the other times my opponent died beforehand, or I died literally the turn right before. Either way, though, being able to call out multiple units from soldiers by 3 energy is great, because again, you'll always be able to get at least 2. So, you know, probably Coaster Shark, and either Wavy Loss over here, or what's it called, Block Horse or Sparkling Bunny, just depending on what you need in that situation. And once you have 2 of them, once you have 3 of them, it depends on what else you want from there. And then auto Vanguard once per turn. When attached into anything, Vanguard or Rearguard, regardless of grade, CB1, perform all the following according to the number of toys are made for children in your order zone. You have 2 or more, choose every front row happy toys, stand, it gets 10k for the turn. 3 or more till end of turn, this unit gets 5,000 power, and if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 grade, also gets a drive. And then 4 or more, choose every front row happy toys, stand, it gets 10k for the turn. So, bare minimum, you always have 2. Guaranteed, this is a standard rear guard, give it plus 10 for 1 CB. Yeah, 3 or more. Bare minimum, it's an 18k. Well, okay, it's always going to be a 30 or 23k thanks to the first skill. So 23k, possibly triple drive, plus Vanguards are grade 3 or greater. If you got the 4 or more in there, plus 10k. The best part is the 4 or more isn't restricted to the opponent being at grade 3, only the extra drive skill is. So if you, by some miracle of God, found a way to cheat a 4th copy into the order zone before your opponent got to grade 3, you can max this guy out. You could have 5, 6 attacks on your opponent's grade 2 Vanguard, with 2 of them having 10k extra power on it, 1 of them probably having double crit pressure, and 1 of them either being Coaster Shark over here or Giant Fluff and Guard Restrict. This card's amazing. Great overall for consistency numbers. Great board presence he can make, especially because the order can recycle basically 2 of them at once you do have 4 copies in your order zone. And his on-attack ability is incredible. It gets you power. It gets you drive checks. It gets you multi-attack out the wazoo, regardless of what grade your opponent's Vanguard's at. This thing is amazing. Easy 3 of in the main deck and 1 of in the ride deck. And without further ado, this is it for this one. Hope all of you guys enjoyed. Honestly, when I first saw this deck, I thought it was going to be really complicated and I didn't want to play it. Like, you can even ask my friend who I test played this with before I actually did the video, and normally that never happens. And I had him help me build this deck, at least with the idea of needing to put in extra Nachu, or Coaster Sharks. And well, once we did play test it, I found the deck incredibly easy to play, and then I just fell in love with it. This deck is fun. I like the theme. I like how all the cards look. The way I think its next support is going to go is they'll probably either get a really good double/triple rare that allows you to play the order card, you know, before your opponent gets to grade 3, so you can have a total of 4 copies of the order in your order zone. Or if they don't do that yet, which I could definitely see them doing later along the line, what they'll end up doing is, because specifically Heartluru is until end of turn for his extra drive skill and his extra power skill, what they'll end up doing is that they'll give Heartluru some way to restand and probably drive minus, and if they don't, well, they're playing with a Pandora's box. Either way, though, this is it for this deck. I hope all of you guys enjoyed. It's really fun to play. I definitely recommend you try it out if you like the theme of it. So I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us for Twitch, and don't forget to set up your Vanguards.